Hey guys, Opal here and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a speed build, and honestly this build is a little bit different than some of my builds that I usually do. I usually go for a really natural build. I don't use many star path / premium items, but for this build I kind of went all out. I had a lot of fun, kind of didn't really go with a certain color theme. I put lots of different colors, lots of different items, and yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's a little bit different, but I still think it turned out really good. And if you were to create this or take some inspiration from this build, there's honestly so many items in the game that you can replace. You can replace the premium items / star path items that I used in some places if you don't have them. So for the flooring, I went with just a basic brick flooring. Obviously in this build I'm using the 2 castle house skins, and I put these side by side. You can also, if you just have one of them, you can duplicate one by using one as your house skin and then the other one as just the normal house skin. I hope that makes sense. That sounds weird when I say it like that, but yeah. For the pathing, I just did like a big square, and then I just branched it off in 4 different directions. There's actually another entrance next to the right hand side. There's another entrance, but I blocked it off. If I keep this in my valley, I'm gonna do a little bit of tweaking just to fix this, but I think it's okay just for the speed build. I honestly love how these castles look. They look so good. They are, I think, a really good size. They're massive, but they're not like so overwhelmingly massive that it's hard to decorate with, so that's quite good. I did want to use these clock thingies, but I ended up deleting them. I'm kind of just pulling out some items that I want to use. I was so tempted to use this big fountain, but my goodness, it is so big. I wish that I placed it before anything else. I could have worked around it, but it wouldn't have looked good on the other side because the pathing would have had to touch the castles. I mean, it could have looked good, but yeah, I just deleted it. I think it's a really good idea though. Even I could have just put the castles further back, but yeah, I ended up just going with a smaller little fountain in the middle. I'm pretty sure I went with the partner statue, which actually looks really good. I think it works in so many different builds. I did play around with different options, like I was thinking of putting like a nice big tree in the middle with some foliage and fencing around, so I was just playing with fences, but then I thought I don't really want to close it off. I'd like to have it really elegant and open, so I did decide to use these fences on this back piece here because I really love the look of them. I think they look really good and I really haven't used them enough, so yeah, I did end up using those here. I also played around with the idea of having other houses and stuff, kind of like a village, but I thought it probably wasn't a good space for it, just kind of cramped. So I think it is a good idea though. I would love to do another build of a castle with a big town because I haven't actually done that before. I've done different castles, but never these castles. I also had to use these clock things. I'm not even sure what you call them, but I use these quite a bit in little edges and things like that, corners. Yeah, I think they look really elegant and super pretty. So I also did a lot of pathing underneath bushes, but you can't really tell that much, but to me you can tell. I know it doesn't really make a difference, but I think it's more of like a personal preference because I know what's underneath there. As you can see too, I've been going through my item list every day and I'm trying to get at least 100 of each item. So I'm working towards that. I do have quite a bit of items at the moment, but I'm going back to front with getting every item to 100. I also really wanted to use these little flower beds. I think they look beautiful, but they don't line up. So I did play around with the idea of putting them two and kind of off-centered, but I ended up using that partner statue. I also thought about adjusting the path, but it was already kind of too late, so I didn't do that. Like I said, in this build, I use a lot of different colors, a lot of patterns and all sorts, which is very different from what I usually do, but I think it's fun and I'm really excited to do more builds like this because I know people have different styles, so that I know this isn't mine, but I see a lot of people build like this, especially in Dream Snaps, and I think it looks really, really beautiful. I also used a lot of these Remy fences, which I think kind of add a nice little touch. They have a nice glow at nighttime, which I really love, and I think they kind of fit the aesthetic. I like that they don't feel like they box off other areas because they're quite short and you can see right through them, which yeah, I love. Usually when I'm doing a build and things don't line up, like kind of how they're not lining up here, it's not really perfect, I usually struggle and I just end up deleting it and resizing things, rotating things, moving things, even deleting the whole build because I don't like it being uneven. But I really tried to let loose with this build and kind of go with the flow, so there are some areas that don't quite match up, which infuriates me, but I think it was a good test, and yeah, I think the more I do it, the more okay I'm gonna be with things not lining up perfectly. I think I put a lot of effort into this little sitting area down the back here just because I was going back and forth in my head whether it looked good, but I am happy with how it turned out. I also pathed off this middle bit because I just think it looks quite nice when things are bordered off and you can't see the grass underneath. Depending on the build, obviously, if it's a more natural build, it looks fine with grass underneath, but I think that bordering underneath that statue and the seating area, I think it adds a nice touch and really finishes it off. So for this back bit of the build, I decided to put this elegant gazebo and that, what would you even call it, that archway? I'm not really sure, it's from the premium shop, but yeah, I added these two and I think it looks really nice, and I've never used them together in a build before, but yes, they're quite nice. I like that it's elegant but also kind of like structured at the same time. This is the pathing that I was talking about earlier that I just fenced off because yeah, I didn't want to line things up. I hate lining things up, so I just fenced it off. Much easier. I also use this bamboo to border off the back because I don't like the look of the rocks in the biomes. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I either use hedges or fences or trees to block it off so I don't have to look at it. And I think the bamboo gives a nice touch. I think it looks quite nice. Now I start working on the other side of the sitting area, and it was a little bit annoying because I couldn't place things on that little corner area there, so it made it a little bit hard. It also didn't line up properly. It couldn't be the same as the other side just because I had a lot less space on this side. So I went with something similar with the same items, just in a different kind of configuration. I also really wanted to add a little swimming pool area, so I used this swimming pool that's craftable, and then I put this speckled pathing underneath. And this path also doesn't line up underneath, but I think it's okay. I took lots of deep breaths during this build. There's still lots of area around the build that I just kind of grass, and I had no idea what to put in there. I didn't want the speed build to be 1,000 hours long, so in this little entrance area, well, I'm calling it an entrance, but there's lots of entrances, I did like a sitting area, and then for the rest of the blank areas I kind of just put foliage and grass. That's about all I did in those areas, and it would be nice if I put more foliage and stuff, but this build took a really long time and I wanted to do it all in one sitting because I didn't want to come back and not have the motivation to finish it. This is me just bordering off this little pool area, and I think I would have loved to add a little sitting area in the pool area. I forgot to do that, but that would have been a really nice touch. This is the tables that I used for the sitting area, and then I also used the pink Beauty and the Beast chairs, which I think look super cute. I think they're Beauty and the Beast. But yeah, I love these chairs. They're the most elegant, pretty chairs, so I had to use them. And this took me a little while to line up just because on one side, that side there, it looks like there's space and you can place items there, but you actually can't. Just really, really annoying, but deep breaths, deep breaths. I also had to adjust the chairs again because I wanted to use these Cinderella lanterns, which look super cute. I don't use these enough either. I think they're really pretty. I also added more bamboo, but just the small ones, just in some little areas. I tried to path underneath here, but there wasn't enough room just because I couldn't go any further and it looked a little bit silly. I tried the bamboo flooring, but that didn't work, so I ended up going with nothing but a little bit of extra grass and foliage. It would have been nice if I just had 2 more tiles, but that's fine. That's fine. I also added some other little items like this room divider, but I think it looks quite cute, as well as these little teapots. Yeah, I think the dividers look really nice, as well as some balloons I added. And then I also added these little pink bushes. And I also added them in some other spaces. I actually really like these pink bushes. I used to hate them, but now I don't think I can do a build without them. The last thing I do is swap out those Mickey fountains with the really bushy fountains because I like the pop of color that they give. And then I also just put some random bushes and foliage to fill out underneath. I think also another sitting area would have been good. I also just bordered off the little swimming pool area with these big hedges. They also don't really line up on two different sides, which really infuriated me, but I think it's okay. Wow, this is the final walkthrough. I honestly really love this build. I'm so glad that I kind of went out of my comfort zone a little bit and placed lots of items, lots of premium items and things like that, stuff I usually don't use. I also think this build would look super cute if I swapped my house skin with one of the castles, and I could have had the same castle on both sides, but I think this still works really good. It's giving a very magical, elegant core, which I love. And yeah, I'm really excited to do more builds like this in the future. I think I've really opened my eyes to this kind of style. It's really grown on me in this short period of time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.